I will break you.
Yeah, he's got some Drago in him right there when he said that line. I was like, oh wow, I forgot that he said that to Batman. Anyways, what's happening, guys? Welcome to Batman the Fan-imated stream. I am, of course, Dave the Film Junkie. With me as always, Mr. Scott McClellan. How's it going, sir?
It's going okay. It's going okay. Sorry about running 15 minutes, folks. Blame Dave. That's
Hey, we got some AFC playoffs that just happened. Congratulations to the Chiefs. I was rooting for the Bengals, the other underdog, but that last play, holy crap! And also congratulations to the Eagles. So it's going to be an Eagles and Chiefs Super Bowl. Sad for the Niners, but yeah, that was a dramatic game. But we won't get into it. But it was a dramatic.
this is I wasn't watching it.
Yes, I mean it's sad. Their rookie quarterback that came in and was 7-0. First quarter, popped his shoulder, couldn't throw after that. So dramatic. But anyways, guys, we're not here to talk football. We're here to talk. Well, we are here to talk about muscular dudes, taking on each other. That's for damn sure. We are going to be talking about Bane.
I know exactly. And as I said last week, first episode that would have the adventures of Batman and Robin playing in front of it, because when Batman switched to becoming a Saturday morning cartoon series, this was the first episode that aired. I still remember, I think it was like 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, getting up and being like, and we knew it was Bane. Like, I think that was like build up to it. And it's also kind of funny because this is only about a year and a half after Bane was introduced in the comics.
In the books, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know what happened there. So it was like one of those things where you going, okay, what are they going to do with this here? Because, obviously we know what happens in the books. We know what, when it comes to the whole Night's Fall, not Night's End, Night's Fall, right?
Well, it was because it was Nightfall, Night's End, Night Quest.
Night's Quest, that's right. Yeah, that whole great series. If you haven't picked it up, it's really, really fantastic. But yeah, so I think it was just like one of those things where it's like knowing the source material and then watching this, you're going, like obviously they're not going to do that in a kids show. They're not going to break Batman's back, but little tease, little tease that happens, which we'll get to.
There's something that does happen though that was like, this is a kid's show when it happens.
Yes, very much. It does get a little dark at, in certain points. But hello everybody. Thank you guys for joining, of course. Good to see you, Tet, Fear Jason, everybody right here. So okay, yeah, well, cool. Good. Keep the content flowing. But yeah, we're talking about Bane, the introduction of Bane. And do we have anything to start this off with when it comes to voices, Scott?
Well, we kind of, sort of. Okay.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Because we do need to acknowledge who the voice of Bane is in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you look at the name or do anything with that?
I kind of did. Because I was like, I know this voice. Like, there's something. I didn't know the voice, but when I was like, you know what, the voice sounded familiar, and then I looked up the face, and I went, why does the face look familiar?
Okay, it might be. This is a deep pull because he was mainly a big time actor. It was Henry Silva. Yeah. He just passed away last September. He was 95 years old, but. The two major movies that I remember him from, he was in the original Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. and all those guys. And he was also in the original The Manchurian Candidate.
Yes.
Also with Sinatra. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, he's with that. But I just was like, I know this voice, and I couldn't help myself, and I looked it up, and then I looked at his face. I'm like, why do I know that face? And then I went, oh, he's influenced in Dick Tracy.
Oh, that's right. He is.
Yes, there you go. Hey, I reversed it. I blew Scott's mind this time.
That's right.
Yeah, because I was like, I saw the face, and I'm like, I know this. And then I kind of scrolled through. I'm like, all right, he was in. I mean, he didn't have any really speaking parts or anything like that, really, but he had an action figure. Like, if you collected those Dick Tracy action figures, they had an influence action figure. He was in the room in certain moments, and I think maybe he did some, maybe he got killed at that big shootout at the end. I love that scene when everybody just starts coming out and just it's just Tommy guns everywhere. It's just madness of Tommy.
Because Henry Silva didn't even need makeup because he had such a distinctive
Yes.
face on his own.
So I think they just probably just height because he had like really high cheekbones kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they just kind of made it just a little more and maybe put something like along like his forehead or something like that. But man, you're kind of you're freezing up a little bit, but I think you're all right now. Okay, I think you're good.
No, that was just I'm not freezing. That was just me.
Oh, that was just you. That was just you.
I'm just really good at holding my face very still, Dave.
That's what it is. But yeah, so it was just like one of those where like I couldn't help it because I was like, I know this voice, but that was like my main pull was like, oh, he was influenced. But then of course, yeah, like what you said, saw all those. He's been in countless things. I mean, he's been in so many things. But yeah, may he rest in peace. He passed away, of course, like you said, last September. So cheers to him. Man, just man. But you said 95, right?
He was 95, yeah. And he voices Bane
all throughout,
with one exception. He doesn't voice him in Mystery of the Batwoman.
Oh, okay.
So
but other than that,
Batman and Superman, every time Bane showed up, it was Henry Silva.
Yes, it was Henry Silva. So may he rest in peace. But yeah, I mean, this is a good episode. This is a good episode. We got
I might disagree with you on that.
You don't like this episode?
I will be honest with you. I'm not saying it's a bad episode. Once again, we've seen bad episodes.
Yes.
But I have my quibbles with it, and I've actually had these quibbles since the day it aired. Like,
oh wow.
So it's like even 12-year-old me had quibbles with this episode. However, this episode also has one of my favorite lines from the animated series.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, when we get there, point it out, of course. But I like this episode because, I mean, I think this is one of those things too. Like, I'm actually surprised when I was watching it and writing down notes. I'm actually surprised this wasn't a two-parter. It felt like it should have been a two-parter.
There is one of my major issues. This episode moves way too fast.
Yes.
They try to cram too much into this episode, so everything feels kind of undercooked. It's really moving. Everything seems undercooked. This episode needed to be a two-parter. I agree with that.
It definitely did because I was like, just I mean, when we get like the backstory of Bane, it's just so quick, and it's just it felt like, well, when we get there, I'll point out like something, but it's just like it was just too quick for me, and yeah, I was like, I'm surprised with a character. I mean, maybe because he was so fresh, in the books and everything, that maybe it was just because of that they didn't feel like they wanted to spend too much time on it. But I was like, but then he ended up being such a pivotal character throughout. It's just I really wish they would have taken their time.
But you've also got to think that we've moved on to being a Saturday morning only, so it's not like 5 days a week where if you do a two-parter, you just have to wait till
the next day. Yeah. Good point. But we start off the episode, of course, with a plane landing, those Gotham planes with the propellers and everything like that. And then we get Candace. We got Candace back.
I know it's been a while since we've seen Candace, which of course automatically means who else is going to be in this episode?
Rupert Thorne, of course. But yeah, Candace, and she's just that she-devil. Oh my God.
She is such a femme fatale.
She so much is, man. I mean, I still remember what was the episode where she's just when everybody's fighting and she's just looking around enjoying.
Two-Face Part 1.
That was Two-Face Part 1. Okay, yeah. It's the fact that you just see that she just loves it. It's almost like she just finds satisfaction manipulating men.
She's getting off on it.
Yes, I was trying to be a little PG, Scott. Come on, standards and practices. Come on. Just kidding.
No.
Not for this stream.
Not for this stream. No.
Not at all. But like she gets off on manipulating men and seeing men just like, at fisticuffs, She loves that. I think that's just what it is. But yeah, so we get Candace, and then I mean, even like they really in this opening scene they emphasize how huge and heavy Bane is, which is little things, which I really liked.
I really like that too because I like the understanding that he's huge even before he pumps venom into him.
Exactly. So he's a big dude. Of course, he's wearing his luchadora
Okay,
mask.
that was a little that was I mean he's like in the double-breasted suit with a fedora, but he's still wearing the luchador mask. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
I was kind of wondering about that too. I'm like, does he have, I mean, I guess they just had to like emphasize that. I don't know. But I mean, right when he gets out, you see his silhouette, and then all of a sudden he just gets out of the plane, and then she just whistles at it because it's like Adam, because it's like, wow, look at the size of this dude. And then of course, his luggage is obviously full of weights, and like one of the dudes is like, trying to get the bag, trying to get his luggage into the car. And then of course when he gets into the car, you see the suspension just go whoop whoop. It's like they really wanted to emphasize the structure of this man,
And how he has to duck under like every door. He has to
yes,
duck underneath it.
yeah, not only big but tall, very tall. So and then
I
we get,
also like when he starts talking that they stayed true to the character and he retained his Latin American origin. Like he has his accent. Even though later on Croc will say South American. I did double check. I actually had to do a little bit of researching and confirm no, it is actually Latin American.
yeah, so there you go. So
Because
more Latin than Hispanic.
they actually changed the location for the purposes of the show,
Mm.
but the DC universe is of course a Santa Prisca, and that's actually supposed to be in the Caribbean.
Okay.
So
Okay. Cool. Good research. Good research. And then we get this is kind of new and interesting. We get a Rupert Thorne working out. I mean,
yeah.
he's got the wife beater on. He's punching the bag. I mean, he's still, very midsection heavy. But, he's got some shoulders. He's got some pecs going on. It's like, oh, look at this guy trying to get in
And
shape.
boy, is he sweating.
Oh yeah, he's sweating his ass off. They really emphasize the sweat, like it's like running down his
And it's like
face.
flying in the air, like as he's like punching.
Yes,
Like,
they really wanted to emphasize it. But hey, he's trying to get in shape. Why not? You got to do that. You got to. I'm sure the doctor, whatever doctor that he sees, told him that he's got to start doing that. And then, not to mention, you got Bane coming. So you're going to be like, all right, maybe I should, do a little bit of a workout. But he did steal some diamonds that he almost didn't get away with. And I guess it's what, like, I think he said it was like $10 million worth of diamonds.
5 million.
5 million, because
5 million. That's his price. That's Bane's
his price tag.
That's Bane's price. Yeah, and I mean, I like the idea of him paying him in diamonds. I don't want us to pass over the fact that he punches out his trainer because his trainer's got a mouth on him. It's like Candace, like, when Jake wakes up, tell him he's fired.
Yeah, it's a good line. And then of course, doing all the talking, stuff like that. And then of course, Bane just does just punches with one fist, punches the punching bag right off the where it's hanging off of, and it's just just to show that yes, this guy is super strong. But of course, not only, I mean, obviously Rupert Thorne wants him to take on Batman, but Bane wants to take on Killer Croc. So we get a Killer Croc in here too.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of a goof there on the newspaper because there's something happens weirdly like a couple of times in this episode when people pull out newspapers and it's like tri-folded, and yet the headline just perfectly is like right there in the middle. Like, no newspaper headline is done so that when you tri-fold it, like you could read everything you need to read like right down the middle. But they say that
too nitpicky, Scott.
Oh my God. I'm just, like I said, there was something about this episode that just gets my goat. But they also say that Croc escapes from Arkham.
Yeah.
And it's like, but Croc's never in Arkham.
Yeah.
Croc is always in Stonegate.
Yeah.
And he ends up in Stonegate in this episode.
Yes, that doesn't make sense because it's not like he's crazy. He just has, I mean, he's a little crazy, but he's just a dude.
He's a criminal.
He's just a criminal that has a lot of strength and stuff like that. It's like, what are you going to do, about that? Like when it comes to psychologically. So yeah, I didn't catch that, but you're correct on that. Why would he be in Arkham? I think it's just like one of those things where it's just, you recognize the name. Maybe there was just like one of those things. Yeah, just say Arkham. But then it kind of, I kind of go like, no, because yeah, like you said, later on he is in Stonegate. So yeah, I didn't even catch that. So good on you. And then of course, when we finally get to Croc, of course, trying to steal a safe in some warehouse, of course. And you know, one of the things that I wrote right here
What'd you
is
write?
I wrote guards suck in this series.
Oh my God, don't they ever?
They just are horrible. Like they're always the goofiest dudes, and when they're on duty, they're always doing something. These guys are eating a sandwich, and they just
You're
suck.
in Gotham City.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, every guard that we see, just I don't know if there's been like I don't know like if there's been a guard that's actually done any good. They always just lose the. I think in Catwalk though, I will give that guard. He was almost good at when everything happened. Because remember, he was like when Catwoman was like, "Help me up," and he was like, "No," and he was like pointing his gun. I was like, he almost had it, but then he got bamboozled.
Well, there's also like the guard in the Terrible Trio that at least had the scruples not to take the money and kind of spit it back in their face.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I appreciate that guy.
Yeah, a couple of ones, but man, mainly they just suck. Anyways, that's just one of the things that hit my brain when I see these two chuckleheads. And you just go, yeah, these guys aren't going to stop anything. What are you talking about? And of course, Croc shows up, and then like I remember one of his goons has like really big teeth. That's why I wrote
Yes,
that. The guy
yes.
that's like trying to get the safe open. I mean, he's got like some big chompers, man.
Yeah, the cracker. You know,
Yeah.
he's got the stethoscope, and he's doing
Mhm.
that. I was also interested in the choice to make Croc wear a trench coat and a fedora.
Yeah. What is that about? Yeah, that is something interesting. Like, it's Croc. What are you
We know
trying
it's
to do?
Croc. I mean, it's
Yeah, you're
like
trying to be in disguise, I guess. Yeah, it's an interesting wardrobe choice, but hey, maybe he's just trying to change up the game a little bit. I don't
but
know, but
it was fun though when Batman and Robin show up and they crash through the skylight, and it's
flash grenade.
I
Yeah.
know, and I do, however, like the fact because I think it's very in character that Croc would go, screw it, let me just pick the entire safe up and take it with us.
Yes, that was very in character where like because obviously he's still trying to crack it, but then Batman and Robin are just taking on everybody. So it's just like, all right, I'm just going to use my strength and just load this thing up into the truck. But of course that didn't fully happen because they throw like a little flash grenade and just throwing stuff like that, and then of course like why not just end up in the sewer because easier that your Croc is on his home turf down there. So follow me out here. But yeah, then Bane shows up.
Yeah, and once again, he punches through the wall, and he's not even on the Venom yet. He just does it. But what
Yeah.
they do in a really cool way that I really appreciated, that they add a little bit of suspense to the episode, is when he pushes the button and starts pumping the venom into his brain. The transformation happens off screen, and we only see it in silhouette, and on Croc's reaction about what's going on. I think that's a cool thing because we do eventually see the full blown, roiding up of Bane later on in the episode. And I'm glad they saved it for later in the episode and created a little bit of suspense.
Mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, at this
Yeah.
point, even though any Batman fan knows exactly what's going
But
on.
I,
Like,
I did like the fact that they, when they drew him, they have like, he has like shoulder hair.
yes, you
Little
noticed
shoulder hair.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like little details like that. I'm like, yeah, little shoulder hairs. Why not? Could be because of the juice. Who knows? But yeah, he just had some like little details like that was pretty cool. But yeah, so of course, yeah, he hits the juice, and it's funny too because that shot right there of the title card is essentially, I guess you could say that the title card is really cool because it's got like this, but yeah, like you said, and I didn't even really think about it. He punched through a wall without having the venom, so yeah, he should have already been juiced up at that point, but yeah, of course he takes on Croc and just beats the living crap out of him.
Oh yeah, he's like
And
he's floating in the sewer by the time Batman and Robin like even get there. I love the effort it takes to drag his unconscious body out of the sewer.
yes, I love how they're both just like doing it. I mean, first they like have to get him out of that, and then of course they're both just have one leg, and they're just like, and then and this was a scene that I remember like stood out to me too, is like when they get to the Batmobile and it's trashed with bare hands. But those finger marks look really big though. Am I
Oh yeah.
wrong?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was
yeah,
really big. But then of course this is when it cuts to Stonegate.
yeah.
To my point of my criticism earlier, and Croc's in traction, and I don't know. This kind of reminded me a little bit of like Batman in Mask of the Phantasm when he goes up to the councilman in the
Mm,
hospital bed,
yeah.
and, except for
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when he's
But
like
with
losing his
Croc in
mind.
traction, and I like Batman going. I've always wondered how these things work.
Yep, and he's gonna mess with his, because obviously he's all slinged up. He's got one foot propped up like in that, and then of course he's all cast up and everything. So yeah, Batman does his best fuckery when it comes to with Croc right here, and I love how he goes, he trashed my car. Now it's personal. Oh, that was actually in the Batcave. Sorry,
No, that's later because that's
yeah,
my line. I have
that's what I
always
ruined it for you.
remembered. No, I always notice the line where he's when Alfred is saying something, and this is the line, and I always love it. He trashed my car, Alfred, between a couple of guys. That's real personal.
And then Alfred responds like, good thing you have like your humor still about this, because that was Batman making a joke.
Yes.
He was making a joke, and it's a good joke. And Alfred was like, there you go. I'm glad you did that. That's great.
Of course,
That's
I was watching
fantastic.
Robin work on the Batmobile, going, just take it to Earl.
I know. You see him like underneath the Batmobile, and I was just kind of like, huh. And my first thought was, is he still wearing his mask? He's like, or I mean, like, I can understand like him, he's got the costume on still, and the gloves. But wouldn't you want to work? Wouldn't you want to get into a jumpsuit and have some like mechanics gloves? Don't want to get oil or grease on your fucking Robin costume. Come on, man, get
And
out of that.
also, I don't know what you think you're doing, but that body work, that's no, you're not. Why are you tooling around on the undercarriage?
I think it was just for aesthetic,
I
just
know
like,
it was, but
yeah,
I'm giving it
I
crap
know. I totally. It's like,
because Bane trashed that car.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, it affected the whole car, but I mean, it was mainly just to the exterior of it. So yeah, Robin being underneath, it was a cool shot of like Batman at the back computer. You got Alfred there, and then of course you got Robin, who's like right underneath the trash Batmobile. But then of course we get, and this right here reminded me of Batman and Robin,
I
the
know. Oh yeah. Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, we're gonna get a backstory with footage quickly, like they did with Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. Instead of getting an actual backstory and getting some kind of like, fleshing it out a little bit, we just get footage of Project Gilgamesh. And it kind of makes you just like, it just shows, Bane, of course, them working on him and everything, and then taking on all these guys, and that's just basically what we get when it came.
And
When it
yet
comes to
Batman
that
knows
story.
about and
Yeah,
Batman knows about like this is a known thing that this was a like I don't know. Like I said, it was too convenient. It was too fast. It was
yeah,
interesting though that they do name drop the real prison from the comics, Pinadora,
yeah.
but Batman says it's in Cuba, so they put it in Cuba instead of putting it in Santa Prisca,
Mm.
which I thought was a interesting choice. Like,
I
why?
think I probably because Cuba. I mean, who's gonna know? I think Cuba is very well known. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
Santa
that.
Prisca is a fictional DC. It's
Yeah.
like saying
So I'm
Corto
thinking.
Maltese.
So I'm kind of thinking like maybe they wanted to put something where people were like, oh, and they can actually think like, oh yeah, Cuba or something like that. I don't know. That's just my thing of it.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know.
like I said, but once again,
Yeah.
I'm glad you point out like this just moves
Yes.
way too. It's just so
Yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this episode, but I'm just going two-parter. Should have been way more. It should just, yeah, totally been a two-parter. And then of course we get back to what Candace's apartment. And then we got Bane, or is it Candace's apartment, or are we at?
No, okay, we don't get to Candace's apartment
That's
yet
so, yes.
because Bane is at Rupert Thorne's office because they're talking
Mhm.
because Rupert Thorne is, it's like, great, you took care of Killer Croc. I'm not paying you to take care of Killer Croc. I'm paying you to take care of the Batman. And that's when Bane kind of does a cool thing where it's like his spider sense starts tingling, and without saying anything to Thorne, he realizes they're being watched.
That's right. He does, because Robin is watching him. And then of course Batman's there too, because we see the Batmobile, of course, come around the corner. But yeah, when it obviously Candace is talking, and talking to him and basically saying that she is, being Candace, and saying that hey, it would be crazy if an accident happened to Thorne, that whole thing.
Oh yeah, that scene. Yeah.
That whole thing, and that's what's recorded, of course. But yeah, and then of course this is like, and then I mean, this scene right here, when he shows up behind Robin, you just go, Robin, you better run. You are
Run,
because,
run, run, run.
yes, it's like one of those things, because it's like, all right, Batman maybe can have a chance. You're smaller. Get out. He could literally probably just squeeze anything, any appendage, and just break it. Like maybe Batman could have a chance, but no, you got to get out of there. And he does do a good job. Robin does do a good job. He puts up a good fight. And then, of course, the chase that happens, he does do a thing. But then, of course, for a big guy, Bane is pretty, he moves pretty well. It's like, you live in the darkness. I was born in it, kind of thing,
Yeah,
Kind of
I do, however, like Bane being able to keep up with Robin.
I
The
do too.
only thing I thought was unrealistic too much for me was how quickly he got across the street and up that building
Yeah,
to get to Robin. But him chasing Robin, I like that. I also thought it was interesting that when he finally grabs him and he like chokes him out.
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they turned his back so they don't show
They
him
don't show that he put him in a sleeper hold, essentially.
yeah, basically. I
Yeah,
think that goes back to standards and practices saying don't do anything that's reproducible.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they did a good job where he just like, yeah, he grabs him, and then he just, turns his back, and then the next time we see Robin, he's he's out. He's out. But thank God we're like, and then of course, Bane knows that it's like, hey, he's not gonna kill him, because he's gonna use him as bait to get Batman. And then of course Batman is over at he shows up at Candace's apartment. And one of the things I wrote down too, like, because as they're waiting for that, she's just watching TV, watching cartoons, apparently. She's got her heels on, and she's like curled up on the couch. I'm like, take your heels off. Come on, you're at your house, you're on the couch. It's just that's a nitpicky thing that I had.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because she's sitting on the couch, like with her legs up on the cushions, and she's still got her heels on. It's like, take those things off. Come on, you're at home.
You could tell though that she knew what Bane was going to be doing, and
Oh
she
yeah,
was just waiting for the call. Like she didn't kick her heels off because it was like,
that could be it. She
yeah,
knew that any moment now, I'm gonna have to,
get out of
put him
here.
back on. Yeah. So you're right. You're right. But and then of course Bane does call, and then, man, I love this part right here, because obviously he has Robin's, just his shirt, and just his shirt, just the shirt,
And the
and
cape.
and the cape, yes, and the cape, and he sees it, and Batman just, he goes in dad mode, like,
Yeah, he does.
he just throws something, into the window, and just like, I gotta, figure this out. But he gets in dad mode right there, and I really like that, that he did that. It was just like, what? Ugh. But yeah,
And
so
then
we
he
have
finds
that.
the note that
Yes,
tells about the ship that Robin's on.
yes. Which is, what's the ship called again? It's
The
called,
Rose's Thorn.
of course, the Rose's Thorn. I forgot to write it down, but then I remember, I was like, oh, I'll remember that, because it's Rupert Thorne. Come on. But then I totally just, because I watched it yesterday. I did watch it yesterday. So, because I was at my dad's house today. And then of course, when it comes to Robin, I mean, we get Robin shirtless here, ladies,
I know, right?
looking pretty ripped, hanging up. And then, okay. Here's something that we should discuss, Scott,
Okay, okay. I'm
because this is
curious.
something I was thinking about, because I saw a tweet that was coming out that was being passed around, and I saw some people quoting on it. Anytime that we have these heroes get captured and they're still masked, because I saw people commenting about, like, in the Batman, when the cops bring the Batman, when he brings Batman into obviously Gotham City PD, and he's out and he's on the table, and people are like, why didn't they take off his mask? You got all these cops around. Why didn't he take off his mask? Why didn't he take off his mask? And it's always like one of those things where they always find a way where the hero doesn't get his mask taken off. I mean, obviously, when it comes to this episode, Bane is like not wanting that because he wears a mask himself. But why would you think, like, okay, so what is your, I don't know if we've ever talked about it. When it comes to that scene in the Batman.
Gordon,
thank you. Okay.
I mean, isn't that like the obvious thing? Gordon's there.
That's all. I knew you were going to know exactly why. Gordon obviously prevented that. It was just one of those tweets where I saw people commenting on it, and then I did the dumb thing of looking at the responses. Yeah, wait. It's like, fuck. Gordon. Of course, Gordon would be like, no. He's the leader of all these freaking, beat cops and everything like that.
He's a lieutenant. I mean,
exactly. And it was just like, I don't know. I just, when I saw this part when he was like wanting to take out the mask, it just reminded me of that tweet. So I just wanted to bring it up right now. But yeah, of course, yes, people. Obviously there's sometimes, yeah, I mean, we've seen it many, many times where it's like, these heroes can get in the situation where they're going to have to take the mask off, and they find crafty ways of not. But yeah, of course,
either it's crafty or the villains themselves just go, that's not the point.
Right? That's not the point. And that's what Bane does right here. That's what Bane essentially, I would say, does right here, because he's wearing a mask himself. So yeah. And then of course, this is where we get the Batman showing up, and then of course he hits the juice, and we get all that, and like, man, when Batman tries to punch him at first and it's not working, I like what Batman does, because then he goes, all right, we're going to grapple, motherfucker. And he starts doing leg locks and all this kind of stuff. He changes it up. Batman realizing, and he adapted, he goes, I can't punch this guy. It's like punching a fucking brick wall. So I'm going to use, other means.
The only thing that works against him, though, is he does the same move 3 times in a row. And it's
hey, how many times have you played a video game? And sometimes when that move works in a fighting game, you just keep doing it. All right, you just keep doing it.
Oh man, you're speaking to my Mortal Kombat experience.
Exactly. You're just like, oh, that move worked. I'm gonna keep on doing it. Just gonna keep on doing it, hitting those buttons. That's what I thought of too. I was like, yeah. When you said that, he's like, yeah, just keep on using that move that works. But and then of course when it comes to Batman, of course we get the "I will break you" kind of thing. The line, we finally get that line, and then we get Batman who finds a very high powered grapple gun, I guess you could say.
It's like a harpoon gun.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's and he just shoots it at him, and yeah, it was just kind of interesting. But yeah, let's get to the clip right here. Obviously, this is when they're gonna take on each other, and then we also get a side.
I'm sorry, that's
okay.
Seriously.
The Robin and Candace thing. It's a little sexual at first.
It is a little sexual.
He's kind of just come on
here.
Yeah, and then she takes off her heels and jumps in. It is interesting, but yeah, here's the clip right here that we're gonna start off with when it comes to all this. See right here.
I got something to discuss with you.
I mean, that is sexual. Come on.
Yes, it really is.
And then look at him oh boy. What?
Oh.
Yeah, got all this, and then
he just slaps him.
Slaps him. And then Robin's struggling. What the fuck? Oh. It shatters it. And Robin just ah! And then, yeah.
Oh, I love this move.
Yeah.
Toys.
Try to fight
me with toys.
Yeah, just squeezes that thing. Yeah.
He slaps him. He's
just slapping him. He's just slapping him. That's all he's doing. And
here he goes.
Yes.
You've got nothing.
Nothing.
Beg for mercy. Scream
My name.
Yes.
Never.
You are.
And then I was like, I remember as a kid going, what?
But this is cool though.
Yeah, that is cool.
Oh, and this scene.
Yes, this right here. Jesus Christ. So freaking dark. This is horror movie level.
Oh, and the music too.
Look at the red background. The red background.
Oh, when the eyes pop out.
And then Batman's like, whoa, shit.
And the heartbeat in the background.
You can do this to me.
Invincible! I am Bane!
Oh my God. Jeez. And then he just shrinks down. My God.
Oh my goodness.
And then I think they had sex. I'm just saying. somehow they had relations. Anyways, go ahead. What were we gonna say?
But no, that scene right there, and also he goes, "No, not the Venom." I loved it how there's the one time he gets to call it Venom is in that scene when he's trying to like turn it off and he can't. And I really do. As much as it felt like a bit of a cheat for him not to like break Batman's back, I do like the way of escaping is by overdosing him.
That's true.
And that's a cool thing. It just moves too fast.
Yeah, it just moves too fast, and it's better than when in Batman and Robin when Batgirl and Robin are taking on Bane, and like he's got them both like by their necks, and it just took like. It was so freaking like they did it probably in one take where I think Robin, they both were trying to get the tube in the back of his head, and Robin just they both like try to kick, and it just casually it falls out because obviously it wasn't in there tight because they needed the shot. Anyways, sorry. I was just when I was thinking about like the scene in Batman and Robin. I'm sorry that I keep on bringing it up, but
it's fine because my God, that's Bane showing up in that movie was so bad,
bad.
But I also like the fact that I'm trying to remember, but like in there, I love how Batman has to like climb on top of him to like rip that hose out from the back of his head because let's remember that thing is like surgically.
Implanted.
Yeah,
it's right in there. Ugh, man. But yeah, so then of course, Candace gets away, and then Batman just says let her be because he's got the dirt. They got the dirt on her already. But even before that, though, there was one thing I wanted to point out before I forgot to mention. It's like when Robin was hanging, and he had the weight on his chain.
Oh, that made me super uncomfortable just watching that.
That was super uncomfortable, but I was like, how did Batman the key? Where did he get the key? Did I miss the key where he got the key, or did he just have some magical key?
I felt like he had like like
some
skeleton.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it was
you
so
didn't miss
easy.
anything. It just
it was so easy. It just felt like it was just a little too easy. But so when that all happens, then of course when we get back to Candace and she shows up at Thorn where Batman does, he basically, she's busted. She's busted when it comes to that recording of her saying that an accident could happen to Thorn. So she gets hers, and I love her face. Her facial expression
is when I am fucked.
Yes, like, well, yeah, finally, Candace, you're getting yours. You've been manipulating these men and trying to fight each other and trying to, but now you're getting, and then of course, Thorn yells out her name. That voice right there, but
that's the love of the fact that like Batman just walks away. It's like I'll let you deal with this.
Yeah, exactly. So see, gotcha, bitch, as Dave Chappelle said. That's exactly what happened. But yeah, that's the end of the episode right there. And like I said, I like this episode, but definitely should have been a two-parter. More backstory.
Practically no backstory. No exploration about Bane's motivation for wanting to go after Batman.
Yeah.
I know he was hired, but he comes in guns blazing like he's not doing it just because Thorn hired him for the job. He wants to do this job. And that doesn't really get explored either, which usually this show does a good job of like exploring that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like you said, this was the first time it was like Saturday morning. Maybe they just thought about that. But yeah, they could. I mean, obviously, if you really think about it, it seems like Bane's motivation is he wants to be the biggest, the best, and obviously, he just wants to take on the. Obviously, you got Killer Croc, who's very very strong, and so he's looking at it as a challenge. Batman, of course, the same thing. So it's like it's an ego thing for him if you really like think about it. But I wish they would have explored that a little more and kind of just gave a little bit more backstory on, yeah, like you said, on why he wanted to do all this. So yeah, but it's a decent episode. It's a good episode. I like it, but yeah, there's some things, especially talking to you, I like it a little less with some of the things you pointed out.
I'm sorry to do that for you, man.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I like these discussions, because you pointed out things that I didn't even like think about. And and then I think, I like the fact that we agreed that it should have been a two-parter. So yeah, so I mean, but it's still, it's still an introduction to Bane. It's not the last time we're going to see him in any of this animation stuff for sure.
It's the last time we'll see him in this season, though.
In this season, yeah, it's not going to, but we'll see him in future things for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So anything else to add to it?
No, nothing.
Yeah.
I said my piece about this episode.
You said your piece. And again, to Mr. Silva, right? May he rest in peace. What do we got next week?
Well, Dave, I didn't mean to.
Oh boy. Boy.
It's Baby Doll.
I didn't mean to. Oh, this God. The thing that I remember the most about this is the ending.
Oh my God.
The ending hits hard. It hits hard.
I mean, if a cartoon can make you cry, I mean,
this is a good episode. And yeah, the way that the ending, woof, man. It definitely could hit you hard. So yeah, that's gonna be a good one to talk about next week for sure. So yeah, Baby Doll next week. Watch it, guys, and we'll be back here talking about it. Go ahead, Scott. Promote.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found, where pretty much probably the next day or two, you're going to get our Shazam Fury of the Gods official trailer 2 reaction. But we've also got about 2 more episodes of Batman scene by scene and 3 more episodes of Man of Steel scene by scene also in the can. So we've got all kinds of content heading your way on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com.
There it is, guys. All right. Make sure you guys smash that like, thumbs up. This is going to be a crazy week because we are going to get that first wave of DC Universe news from Mr. James Gunn, seeing what the hell he's going to be doing. It's going to be madness, pure madness. So, I mean, it's tomorrow's the 30th, 31st. Most likely everything's going to be showing up on the 31st. It's all kind of weird and wonky, but we'll see what happens this week. So make sure you tune into Film Junkie Live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be talking, of course, about things that have happened recently. And then we'll see what happens, if anything leaks out or anything, I don't know. We'll just see. It's going to be a crazy week. And yeah, hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, do all that. We'll see you guys next week on the Batman the Fan-imated stream. Same bat time, same bat channel. Talk to you later.